I had been on the road for hours, the endless stretch of highway disappearing into the darkness ahead. The rain had started an hour ago, a steady downpour that made the asphalt glisten under my headlights. My eyes were heavy, my body aching from the long drive. I needed to stop for the night, just a few hours of rest before continuing my journey. That's when I saw the flickering neon sign in the distance. Lone Pine Motel. It didn't look like much. A single-story building, its paint peeling, the parking lot half empty except for a few cars that looked like they hadn't moved in weeks. The vacancy sign buzzed with an eerie hum, the red glow reflecting off the wet pavement. I pulled in, cutting the engine. Everything about this place felt off, but exhaustion was stronger than my unease. Stepping out of the car, I felt the air. Thick, damp, strangely still. No wind, no rustling trees, just the distant sound of rain tapping against the roof. A dim light flickered above the motel office door, casting long shadows across the cracked concrete. As I pushed open the glass door, a small bowl jingled, its chime unnaturally loud in the silence. The front desk was old, the wood chipped, a dusty computer monitor blinking faintly. Behind it sat a man. Or at least, I think it was a man. His face was gaunt, his skin sallow under the yellowish glow of a lone desk lamp. He barely looked up as I approached, his fingers tapping on the counter in an oddly rhythmic pattern. "Need a room?" His voice was hoarse, like he hadn't spoken in days. I nodded. "Yeah, just for the night." He didn't ask for ID, didn't even glance at the credit card I placed on the counter. He simply slid an old-fashioned key across the wood. Room 6. His fingers lingered on it for a second too long. His nails slightly too sharp, his expression unreadable. "Try not to leave your room after midnight," he muttered, almost too softly to hear. A chill ran down my spine. "Why?" He looked at me then. Really looked at me. His eyes dark pools of something unreadable. His lips twitched, almost forming a smile, before he turned away. No reason. I grabbed the key, my hand unsteady. As I stepped back into the cold night, I noticed something strange. The rain had stopped, but the pavement was still wet. And the air smelled wrong, like something old, something rotten, something that didn't belong here. I walked toward room 6, feeling the motel looming around me, pressing in. The door creaked as I unlocked it, the dim glow of the bedside lamp, flickering as if disturbed by an unseen presence. That's when I noticed the closet door. It was slightly open, and I could swear someone was breathing inside. The moment I stepped into the room, I felt it. Something was wrong. The air was thick, stale, carrying a faint metallic scent, like old rust or dried blood. The dim yellow light from the bedside lamp flickered slightly, casting long, jagged shadows across the peeling wallpaper. The bed looked untouched, the sheets tucked in too perfectly, as if no one had ever dared to sleep in it. But my eyes kept going back to the closet. It was slightly ajar, just an inch, but enough for darkness to seep out like an open wound. I stood frozen for a moment, my pulse quickening. I knew I should check. I had to. Taking slow steps, I reached out and gripped the handle. My fingers felt clammy against the cold metal. With one deep breath, I yanked it open. Nothing. Just an empty space. No forgotten luggage, no discarded coat hangers, only dust and the faintest scent of something rotting. I let out a nervous chuckle, shaking my head at my own paranoia. It's just an old motel room. Closing the closet door firmly, I locked it, just in case. I tossed my bag onto the chair and sat on the edge of the bed, rubbing my temples. I needed sleep, even if every instinct in my body was screaming that I shouldn't be here. The strange motel clerk's words echoed in my head. Try not to leave your room after midnight. Glancing at the clock on the nightstand, I saw the time. 11:47 p.m. I lay back, pulling the scratchy blanket over me, forcing my eyes shut. I would sleep for a few hours and leave at dawn. That was the plan. But just as my body began to relax, I heard it. A soft, scratching sound. At first, I thought it was coming from outside. Maybe a tree branch against the window? But then I realized it was inside the room. I sat up slowly, heart pounding, straining to listen. The scratching was coming from the shut closet. A long, deliberate sound, like nails dragging across wood. My breath hitched. I knew the closet was empty. I had checked it myself, but the sound was unmistakable. Something was inside. I grabbed my phone, turning on the flashlight, and aimed it toward the closet door. The scratches stopped instantly. For a moment, there was nothing but silence. Then, knock, knock, knock. 3 slow, deliberate knocks from inside the closet. My entire body turned cold. My instincts screamed at me to run, to get the hell out of that room, but my legs refused to move. I stared at the door, waiting, hoping I had imagined it. Knock, knock, 2 more, closer this time, as if whatever was inside had moved closer to the door, and then a whisper. A voice so faint, so brittle, I almost thought it was the wind. Let me out. I bolted upright, my breath coming in short gasps. My mind raced. This wasn't real. It couldn't be real. Maybe I was dreaming. Maybe I was losing my mind. And then the door handle twisted. Slowly, deliberately. I watched in horror as the lock clicked open. The door creaked an inch, then another. Darkness poured out like ink, swallowing the dim glow of my lamp. I reached for my bag for my keys. Anything to get me out of that room. My shaking hands fumbled, and my phone slipped from my grip, falling onto the carpet with a soft thud. And then I saw it. A hand, pale, thin, with fingers too long, too sharp, stretching out from the darkness inside the closet. It clawed against the doorframe, nails scraping deep, leaving long, jagged marks. I didn't wait to see what would follow. I lunged for the door, yanking it open so hard it slammed against the wall. The hallway was empty, eerily silent. My heart pounded as I stumbled forward, desperate to get away. As I reached the parking lot, I turned back one last time. The closet door was wide open now, and from the darkness inside, 2 hollow, gleaming eyes stared back at me. I ran. I didn't stop running until I reached my car. My hands shook as I fumbled for my keys, my breath coming in ragged gasps. The motel loomed behind me, silent, watching. The rain had started again, light at first, then heavier, drumming against the roof of my car. I slid into the driver's seat, locking the doors with trembling fingers. I had to leave. Now? I turned the key in the ignition. Nothing. The engine didn't even sputter, just dead silence. My stomach twisted. This wasn't happening. It couldn't be happening. I tried again, harder this time, my palm sweating against the key. Still nothing. A sharp knock at my window nearly made me scream. I turned my head so fast it hurt. Someone was standing outside my car, their figure barely visible through the rain-slicked glass. My pulse pounded in my ears. The shape was tall, unmoving. The motel clerk, his gaunt face looked even more unnatural under the flickering neon sign. His eyes hollow, like twin pits of darkness. He raised one skeletal hand and gestured for me to roll down the window. Every fiber of my being told me not to. I hesitated. Maybe he could help me. Maybe my car had just stalled and I was overreacting. Slowly, I lowered the window an inch, just enough to hear him. "You shouldn't have left your room," he rasped. A shiver crawled down my spine. "My car won't start," I whispered. He stared at me, his head tilting slightly, unnaturally. "Because you weren't supposed to leave." My breath hitched. Something in his voice sent a deep, primal fear into my bones. "What the hell is going on here?" I demanded. He didn't answer. Instead, he took a slow step back and pointed toward the motel. Room 6. The door was wide open, but I had shut it. I had slammed it. A cold dread filled my chest as I stared into the darkness beyond that open door. For a split second, I thought I saw something move inside. A shadow, a shape. Then the lights inside flickered violently, once, twice, before going completely dark. A whispering sound filled the air. Not from the motel clerk, not from me. It came from inside the room. And then it stepped out. A figure, unnaturally tall, its limbs elongated, its head tilting as if it was studying me. The rain didn't seem to touch it. Its face was wrong, stretched, warped, like melted wax. And then its ex smiled. Not a human smile. Too wide, too many teeth. The motel clerk took a step back. "It knows you now," he whispered. His voice was barely audible, yet somehow I heard it clear as day. "And it doesn't let go." The thing outside room 6 twitched. Then yours moved. Not walked. Moved. 1 second it was standing in the doorway. The next, it was closer. A foot away from the curb. Then the edge of the parking lot. Then right beside my car. A sharp, rira cracking sound filled the air like bones snapping. My ears rang. My body froze. It was standing right there, inches from my window. I could feel it watching me, even though I refused to turn my head. And then it tapped. Once, twice. The same rhythm as the knocking from the closet door. I clenched my eyes shut. This isn't real. This isn't real. The rain grew louder, hammering against the car roof like thousands of tiny nails. And then, as suddenly as it had begun, silence. I opened my eyes. The figure was gone. The motel clerk was gone. Even the rain had stopped. I turned the key again, my entire body trembling. This time, the engine roared to life. I slammed my foot on the gas, tires screeching against the wet pavement as I sped out of that parking lot, not daring to look back. I drove for miles before stopping at a gas station, my hands still gripping the steering wheel too tightly. My heartbeat slowly returned to normal. The world felt real again. Safe. Then my phone buzzed. A text message, no name, no number, just 2 words. Room 6. My breath hitched as I stared at my phone screen. The message sat there, mocking me in its eerie simplicity. Room 6. My fingers trembled as I locked the phone, throwing it onto the passenger seat like it was cursed. I wasn't going back. I couldn't. I took a deep breath, forcing my mind to focus. I was miles away now, parked outside a gas station under the safety of bright fluorescent lights. The nightmare was over. It had to be. But then I saw it. In the side mirror, a figure, standing at the edge of the parking lot, still, watching, waiting. The gas station's lights flickered. My stomach twisted in horror. I turned in my seat, my breath caught in my throat. But there was nothing there. Just an empty lot, stretching into the dark highway beyond. I was seeing things. That was all. Just paranoia. I rubbed my eyes and exhaled sharply. I needed to leave. Now, I grabbed my phone to check the GPS, but my screen was black, dead, even though it had full battery just minutes ago. My stomach dropped. Then, tap tap. A soft knock on my window. My heart stopped. Slowly, I turned my head. A face, pressed against the glass. But it was my own. A twisted, grotesque version of me, skin stretched too tight, eyes hollow and lifeless, lips curling into an unnatural grin. And then it whispered, "You left too late." The world went black.